In a year full of surprises, Mario and Rabbids Kingdom Battle really takes the crown. The Nintendo Ubisoft crossover that nobody knew they needed hit E3 by storm, leaving everybody asking, wait, this is a thing? Hey everyone, this is Adrian with the Leaderboard, and we're here to talk about this passion project made by Super Mario fans for Super Mario fans. So hop aboard your time-traveling washing machines because we're going to guide you through 107 facts about Mario and Rabbids Kingdom Battle. Let's go! Kingdom Battle was developed by Ubisoft, more specifically their Milan and Paris subdivisions. That's right folks, Mario & Rabbids is not a purebred Nintendo game. Ubisoft Milan has worked on a number of major titles since their founding 19 years ago. Some of their bigger ones include Rayman, multiple games in the Tom Clancy franchise, Just Dance, Assassin's Creed, and Donald Duck Goin' Quackers? This project was spearheaded by creative director Davide Soliani. Soliani's first major foray into the gaming industry dates back to the original Rayman, followed by Jungle Book Mowgli's Wild Adventure. Both of these were Ubisoft games developed for Nintendo consoles, unknowingly paving the way for this game. If you don't know Soliani by his work, then you probably know him as the crying Ubisoft man from E3. His joyful tears during the Ubisoft press conference were considered the most wholesome part of E3 and were memed immediately. Don't cry, Ubisoft man, you'll get the full story on those tears soon. As weird as a turn-based Super Mario RPG sounds at first, it's not unprecedented at all. There was a Super Mario RPG in 1996, as well as the Paper Mario and Mario & Luigi series, both of which incorporate RPG elements and a turn-based battle system. It isn't even Mario's first time sharing the spotlight with other game icons. He's crossed over numerous times with former rival Sonic the Hedgehog for the Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games series, but even in that game, his name comes first. The Rabbids, as young of an icon they are, have done some crossing over in their day too. They were playable in TMNT Smash Up. Think Super Smash Bros. But with the Ninja Turtles and Raving Rabbits. Yeah, it's kinda weird. The Rabbids' crossovers extend to movies too. Well, kind of. If you go on the Rabbids Twitter page, there's official art of the Rabbids invading Guardians of the Galaxy, Fast and Furious, and more. Ubisoft and Nintendo have always had a strong relationship. According to Nintendo director and Mario creator Shigeru Miyamoto, Ubisoft is one of the companies that consistently supports Nintendo and understands their vision and markets. The idea for a Nintendo-Ubisoft crossover actually dates back several years. Discussion began when Ubisoft ported Just Dance to Japan and was allowed to include Mario. From there, ideas snowballed for a full-on collaboration. Ideas for this particular crossover came about as Davide Soliani was brainstorming the perfect matchup for the Raving Rabbids. He wanted to mix them with a property that would mesh perfectly while also retaining a separate identity. Prior to the development of Kingdom Battle, Ubisoft had attempted a different Rabbids Mario crossover in 2010. This one would have been a more adventure-style game. However, it seems to have been shot down by Nintendo. Then again, Nintendo doesn't go around handing out crossovers. Yuji Naka of Sega once tried to pitch an action-style Sonic the Hedgehog crossover to Miyamoto, but he was turned away as well. Nintendo don't mess around. That was a lame joke. Next, Soliani and his team came up with 13 possible ideas for the crossover, one of them being a Mario Kart-style combat game, but minus the karts. The development team wanted to take the project in a brand new direction, something foreign to Mario and Rabbids alike. Since the team was composed of tactical strategy fans, they decided to go down that route, but mix in some adventure phases and a light tonality to keep it familiar to fans. The team drew influence from the old Worms games, which were also tactical strategy games with an over-the-top cartoon edge to them. Rather than pitch the idea to Miyamoto with a PowerPoint, Soliani wanted to go all out and create a prototype. The prototype was developed in just 3.5 weeks, from conception right up to their presentation to Nintendo. In those 3 weeks, Soliani's team took the time to build new Mario and Luigi models from the ground up. They studied numerous Nintendo games to make sure they were perfecting the look and feel of the characters. They say you should never meet your heroes. Well, don't tell that to Soliani. In fact, he met Miyamoto twice before pitching Kingdom Battle. His first time was at an E3, shortly after he finished working on the Jungle Book Game Boy game. He was so starstruck upon meeting Miyamoto that he didn't even say hello, or tell him that this was his game. Miyamoto was confused, but gave Soliani an autograph anyway. And of course, Soliani left the signing and went to go cry. The second time Soliani met Miyamoto was in 2002, when he learned that Miyamoto was in Milan. He called up all the 5-star hotels in the area to find out which hotel Miyamoto was staying in, and then camped outside to meet him. When Soliani met Miyamoto again in 2014 for the pitch, he was still torn between his fanboy side and his professional side. In fact, Soliani said that he was tempted to ask Miyamoto for an autograph. Again. As it turns out, the fandom flows both ways. Miyamoto's a fan of the Rabbids too. He even has several Rabbid figurines on his desk. During the middle of the pitch, Soliani got distracted by Miyamoto's socks. He was so starstruck that he spent a good 5 to 10 seconds staring at them, and could later remember that they were white with red lanterns on them. Now that's fanboying. Soliani said that after the meeting with Nintendo, the first thing he did was go outside, take it all in, and probably cry a little bit more. But he couldn't quite remember because he was so in awe and speechless. All that hard work and preparation paid off because Miyamoto was thoroughly impressed by the prototype. He loved the fact that the idea was so different than anything Nintendo had done or planned to do with Mario, giving it a unique identity. Another reason Miyamoto approved the project was thanks to Soliani's passion. He knew that it would be in good hands, and that's exactly what would make the game work. The Mario and Luigi models came out so well after that presentation, Miyamoto asked Soliani how they got them. Their spot-on recreations were another factor in showing Miyamoto that they could be trusted with a Mario game. Though he approved the project, Miyamoto told Soliani that Kingdom Battle should barely have any platforming elements. Leave that to the real Nintendo games. This meant that Mario wasn't even allowed to jump, and this is Jumpman we're talking about. And by jump, I mean like you press A and you jump. Not obviously the jumping in the game, because Mario does jump in the game. Miyamoto wasn't just trying to make Soliani's life difficult, he makes this request of every third-party developer. For example, the Mario & Luigi RPG wasn't allowed to make jumping an ordinary function either. It had to be selected out of longer command lists. Since Miyamoto prohibited Soliani from using jumping as a primary means of attack, he and his team had to take a different direction. They decided, cautiously, to go with guns. According to Soliani, they knew that giving Mario a gun would be controversial. After all, this would be the first and maybe only big Mario title with guns. They knew they had to make the guns as vibrant and fun as the world of Mario, so they wouldn't come across as scary or violent. One of the ways that Ubisoft achieved this was by using cartoon proportions. By making everything look bigger and bubblier, it made the guns look like less of a threat, while still showing off their importance and power. The designs of the guns were inspired by the weaponry in the Fifth Element, which also had a massive appearance with a fun sci-fi flair. This isn't actually Mario's first time using a gun though. You can also pick up a few kinds of firearms in Super Smash Bros., and Mario does wield a gun in Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games for skeet shooting. What's skeet shooting? Guys, Mario has a long history with almost using guns. It dates back to the very first Super Mario Bros. Game, where the plan was for him to fire bullets instead of fireballs. Similarly, Splatoon was almost going to be the first Mario game to feature guns, before Nintendo decided to make it an entirely fresh IP with a new style of weapon. Throughout the course of the development, the Ubisoft Milan team would have daily or weekly meetings with Nintendo in Japan to make sure that they were staying on the right track. Nintendo's a bit notorious for being hard to work with. However, Soliani says that it's easy to get along with them as long as you use good logic and justify your choices. Then they're even open-minded to guns. Miyamoto was very encouraging of the lunacy brought on by the Rabbids. He was excited by the opportunity to let the character of Mario experiment with the Rabbids brand of slapstick, and cited Rabbid Peach's wig-snatching moment as one of his favorites. The game's humor embraces slapstick, which works because neither the Rabbids nor Mario are big speakers. They relied on body language for the characters to communicate. Slapstick is a universal language, of course. In fact, humor was considered one of the most important parts of the game, so much so that whenever the team had to make a big decision, they always went with the funniest option. There are over 1,500 character animations in the game. The development team went through the trouble of including so many character-centric motions in order to make the game feel like a cartoon. Despite the expressive character animations, the developers still wanted to add in a voice of reason, like a literal voice of reason. Thus, they added Beepo, whose job is essentially to translate the Rabbids. For the setting, the team aimed to combine the familiar shapes and colors of a Mario game with the madcap sensibilities of a Rabbids game. That's how you end up with giant Goomba bidets. Even the sound design incorporated the classic Mario sounds with the unique hoots and hollers of a Rabbid franchise. The team did their best to combine the two to make a completely new aesthetic while still paying tribute to the originals. A notable example of the game's design philosophy came in the form of the Parabbid plant. It's a classic identifiable Mario enemy, but merged with the standard white rabbit. According to the development team, the game was made with this kind of merger in mind. The game was composed by Grant Kirkhope, who made a musical name for himself in the game industry with his work on Donkey Kong 64 and Banjo-Kazooie. Kirkhope was so into the game that he'd call Soliani in the middle of the night with ideas. Now granted, that was because of the time difference between Kirkhope in LA and Soliani in Europe, but still, points for enthusiasm. Kirkhope actually had no idea he was working on a Mario game. He'd only heard of the game referred to as Rabbids Kingdom Battle, so he didn't realize he was composing for Mr. Video Game himself. When he found out, the pressure was on. He'd be following the footsteps of composer Koji Kondo, who's famous for his work on the Super Mario Bros. And Legend of Zelda series. At one point, Kirkhope started to recreate some of the classic Mario melodies and sent them over to Nintendo for approval. Apparently, he got one note wrong, so they sent him back the official sheet music for the song, which Kirkhope couldn't help but have his own fanboy moment. Rabbid Kong's theme song is actually a rearrangement of the classic Donkey Kong theme, Jungle Japes, from Donkey Kong 64, but with a more orchestral Animaniacs flair. If the overworld music for Peach's castle makes you strangely nostalgic, there's a good reason for it. It's a rearrangement of the castle theme from Super Mario 64. All in all, there were about 3 hours worth of music recorded for the game. According to the developers, the story is about the two worlds and their mascots learning to come together. For the Rabbids, it means learning loyalty and control. For Mario, it means having a sense of humor. While the Rabbids were originally part of the Rayman franchise, they broke off into their own series, beginning with the Rabbids Go Home. Actually, do you all want to see an entire 107 facts about the Rabbids? Let us know in the comments. Rayman himself is noticeably absent from Rabbids Kingdom Battle, maybe because he already has his own game for the Nintendo Switch. Rayman Legends Definitive Edition. Maybe he and Mario will team up next year, although Soliani mentioned that they are two separate universes. But come on, Rayman and Super Smash Bros. Anyone? Luigi's meme-worthy death stare became iconic after Mario Kart, so much so that Ubisoft added it into Kingdom Battle as an attack. Luigi has the ability Steely Stare, which allows him to to automatically attack an enemy if he catches them moving. Nobody crosses Luigi! The developer saw Luigi's death stare and decided to raise him one dab. That's right, when Luigi lets an explosive loose, he dabs. But Luigi, what happens if the haters dab back? Luigi brings back another familiar weapon in this game, the Poltergust 3000, though here it's called Suction Destruction and is used for sniping. This game is yet another example of Princess Peach breaking out of her damsel in distress shell and making some distress. In fact, the official marketing materials even call her the badass princess. Actually, some of the weapon names are shockingly edgy for a Mario game. Among them include Hell in a Shell and Life's a Beach. Sure, it's going from G-rated to PG-rated, but come on, Mario's too wholesome for this. Both Ubisoft president Yves Guillemot and Miyamoto fell in love with Rabbids Peach. Guillemot even told the team to develop her more, because he was so into her. Oh, and if you're wondering where all of Rabbids Peach's selfies are going, she has her own Instagram page. It's exactly how you would imagine. For his victory animation, Rabbid Mario sometimes breaks out a lute, not unlike real-life Mario creator Miyamoto, who's been known to pluck the old quarterphone every now and again. Unfortunately, the project suffered some leaks before their big reveal at E3. The first wave leaked after Kotaku received art assets for the game. These revealed the title, the turn-based RPG nature of the game, and the fact that there were 8 playable characters that would be using laser guns. Later, said promo art leaked, corroborating the details about the game itself. Along with it, leaked the plan for the game to be unveiled at E3. After the leaks, Mario & Rabbids was met with a reaction of skepticism and dismissal. Some people weren't happy with the Rabbids effect on the Rayman franchise and were worried that they would do the same to Mario. Plus, fans were worried about the inclusion of guns, as well as the genre of the game. Basically, every creative decision that Soliani and his team made was called into question. Hey, so it turns out that mean comments on the internet actually do hurt people's feelings. The negative reception following the leaks damaged the folks at Ubisoft Milan, making the final few weeks of development all the more difficult. Finally, the fateful presentation day arrived. At E3 2017, Miyamoto and Ubisoft president Yves Guillemot took to the stage, donning oversized prop guns, and began posing on stage together. The audience went wild. It was one of the strongest and strangest presentations the company has ever put together. Cue crying Ubisoft man. Soliani said that the reason he started to cry at E3 is twofold. One, he didn't know Miyamoto was going to call out his name on stage, and two, he was worried about the reception of the game after the leaks. But the crowd reaction proved his concerns wrong. See, there's a happy ending after all. As if the crowd reaction wasn't rewarding enough, Mario & Rabbids received 37 award nominations after E3. Despite the genre competition, XCOM 2's creative director Jake Solomon gave the game his blessing. He said that people were tweeting him about it, so he checked it out, and was as shocked as everyone else to see what the companies had put together. But good shocked. Not bad shocked, good shocked. To promote the game, Ubisoft announced the Rabid Kong Worldwide Selfie Contest. Participants could download an asset package with various Rabid Kong PNGs and add them into their own photos. The winner would receive a 6-inch collectible Rabid statue and a cap, making Rabid Peach proud. At long last, after years of blood, sweat, and many tears, Mario & Rabbids Kingdom Battle finally came out on August 29th, 2017. The launch was celebrated at Nintendo New York City with a cosplay contest. Just like the Rabbids in the game, participants were encouraged to dress up like their favorite Mario character. The winner received a copy of the game, a matching t-shirt, and a 6-inch Rabid Mario figurine. The collector's edition of the game came tricked out with all kinds of goodies. You'd get a collectible Rabid Mario figure, 12 collector cards, and the game's soundtrack on CD. No kitchen sink though. If you pre-ordered the game, you'd also gain access to the DLC Pixel Pack, which contains 8 pixel-themed bonus weapons for each character, throwing it back to the 8-bit days. There's also a $20 season pass available, which will give you access to 8 steampunk weapons, plus new challenges, maps, and a story event in the coming year. That's right y'all, Mario & Rabbids is here to stay. While there are no dedicated amiibo for Kingdom Battle at this time, you can unlock special weapons by using existing amiibo of Mario, Peach, Yoshi, or Luigi. Internally, Ubisoft Milan referred to the 3-person party system as a Triforce. The idea here is that you have 3 characters, with 3 moves each, just like the multi-triangular composition of the Triforce. This structure and all possible combinations it created served as the building blocks for the party system. There are just 4 worlds in the game, which doesn't sound like much at first, but each world has 9 chapters within it, so this campaign will take you a bit of time. The many weapons in the game are broken down into 9 categories. 5 primary weapons, including the blaster, warp, boomshot, precision, and rumble bang, and 4 secondary weapons, melee, rocket, sentry, and grenaduck. The gold weapons can be achieved as early as the first boss. After defeating him, just go back to Ancient Gardens Area 4 and look for the red switches. That'll open up a bridge to the secret area where you can obtain these beauties. Customization in Kingdom Battles based around character skill trees, which can be overwhelming at first. There are 4 categories per character: movement skill, attack skill, technique skill, and other skills. Don't feel pressured about where you spend your power orbs though. You can reset your skill tree and make different choices whenever you want. If you're running short on coins, and with all the weapon upgrades, you will be short on coins, there are a few ways to make bank. Keep on the lookout for secret areas. They're often marked by color switches and will lead you to Scrooge McDuck levels of wealth. You can also replay chapters for better ratings and more coins. After you complete the game, you gain access to the ultimate challenges. And make no mistake, these challenges are ultimate. One challenge sees you squaring off against every mid-boss in the entire game. I kinda miss boss runs in games. Comment down below if you think so too. One of the coolest parts of Kingdom Battle is the sheer amount of references it contains. I mean, look at the first cutscene alone. The basement is filled with Mario paraphernalia, showing just how big of a superfan the scientists and the developing team is. While figurines of Mario, Luigi, Peach, and Yoshi can easily be spotted, look closely and you'll see Wario, Donkey Kong, and Waluigi figures hidden in the room as well. Of course, none of those three ever actually appear in person. However, the Rabbid counterparts, Wario, Waluigi, and Rabbid Kong all do. Mario never forgets his roots. The classic World 1-1 from Super Mario Bros. Can be seen on the Mario Fangirls wallpaper, as well as along the side of the Splatformer weapon. The washing machine that the Rabbids burst in on has actually appeared before. It's originally from Raving Rabbids Travel in Time. That's right, this isn't the first time they've done this. Even the dates on the time machine are references. Each date is a big moment in history for the production companies, including Nintendo's founding, Ubisoft's founding, and presumably Ubisoft Milan's founding. We can't verify the month and day, but the year's right. The first enemies encountered in the game are called Ziggies, a clear allusion to Ziggy Stardust, the stage name of David Bowie. I mean, just look at that hair and makeup. Phantom Rabbid's song is filled to the brim with references and jabs to Mario's history. Among them are lines about his introduction in Donkey Kong, the pain of being hit by a blue shell in Mario Kart, and Toad's classic line, "Your princess is in another castle." At one point, Beepo asked Yoshi if he really has his own island. Yes, Beepo, he really does. Yoshi's Island. Beepo is unable to remember Luigi's name, instead thinking it's Louis, Lyle, Llewellyn. This is becoming a tradition in Mario spin-off games, like how Bowser can't remember Luigi's name in the Mario and Luigi RPG series. The guns are where the developers really went ham with references. You can find all kinds of puns and inside jokes there, but here are some of the best ones. One of the Grenaducks, the Sam Kingfisher, is a reference to Sam Fisher from the Splinter Cell games, which are also developed by Ubisoft. The Barrel Blaster happens to have the same name as Donkey Kong's cart from his own crossover into Skylanders. The description for the ASCII Eradicator contains some code that when translated spells out dork. Well, I guess we had that one coming. The design of the Gobblegoose is based on Gobblegut, the giant space dragon from Super Mario Galaxy 2. One weapon, the Matter Splatter, actually has the same name as an old Mario level. The Matter Splatter Galaxy was a stage in Super Mario Galaxy. Kingdom Battle is one of the few games released exclusively for the Switch. Other games are either multi-platform or multi-generational. Thanks to its exclusivity, the game was developed to take full advantage of the grab-and-go playstyle of a Nintendo Switch user. That meant 10 to 15 minute levels that could be picked up and completed, or paused for later. This marks the 16th game in the Raving Rabbids franchise, and probably like the 400th Mario game. Seriously, who can keep track of all these spin-offs? The game runs on Ubisoft's Snowdrop, a game engine first developed for Tom Clancy's The Division back in 2013. Let's get a little techie. Mario Rabbids runs at a resolution of 1600 by 900 when docked, but drops down to just 1066 by 600 when taken on the go. Luckily, the game compensates by anti-aliasing the graphics, preventing the jagged edge look that plagues games like Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. The game's freely rotating camera system lets you take in the beautiful graphics from a bunch of angles, so feel free to take in every pixel of that meticulously shaded water. And bonus fact, if you didn't know, there is a YouTube user named Rabbid Luigi, and Ubisoft sent him a bunch of Mario and Rabbids stuff because, you know, how did you have the name Rabbid Luigi before the game actually came out? That's kind of insane. Also, they sent him to like all these conventions and stuff. It was amazing. And he did an unboxing on his channel, so if you want to check his channel out, you can do that on your own time. I don't care. There you have it. Once again, I'm Adrian, and thanks for watching 107 Facts about Mario and Rabbids Kingdom Battle. Have you played it? Did we miss anything? Comment below and let us know. Don't forget to click that bell icon to become part of the notification squad. And if you like getting more from your games, subscribe to the Leaderboard, your home for video game facts.